Hey everyone, welcome back. So today is Sunday. Hope you guys had a great weekend. We still have obviously Labor Day tomorrow, so the markets are going to be closed tomorrow. But we'll take a look at what happened in the past week with Bitcoin. We'll take a look at also this weekend BTC miners, see how they did compared to Bitcoin. We'll also take a look at some of the news stories that we had today, or not today, this past week on them. We'll just kind of go over general details on those, just kind of do a weekly review on those. And that's it. It'll be a pretty easy day. As always, not financial advice. You guys know the drill here. I'm investing following coins and companies. So let's get into Bitcoin here really quick. I'll give you my thoughts on it, see what's going on, and then we'll get into the other things as well. So Bitcoin is now at 19,847. We are seeing that it has obviously been coming down here in the last couple of days. RSI hasn't been going down too much, but we do have this trend line going back to, this is going back to like November of last year. And we have been battling with it here back in the beginning of August, around the 13th. We did go above it, and then we've obviously fell below it each consecutive day afterwards, and then we had a big drop here on the 19th, and then another big drop on the 22nd. So right now, we are kind of trading sideways here. It looks like we do have the CPI data coming out, I believe, next week, if I'm not mistaken. So that's going to have a big impact on, obviously, Bitcoin, I believe. If we get a CPI data that's pretty good, that we're seeing inflation coming down from the prior month, which is going to be good. If it goes above the prior month of July, that's not going to be good. And I think we might see, obviously, Bitcoin fall below our support of 19,500 if that happens. Otherwise, we're going to be battling with this trend line here, and if we can break through this, possibly, we might start going back up. But then it also depends on what Papa Powell says as far as are they raising the interest rate 75 basis points or 50 basis points? So if we get 50 basis points, I think we're going to be taking off. If we get 75, we might be treading water here and just going sideways a little bit longer, maybe bouncing between the 24,000 range and where we are right now. Only time will tell, obviously. So that's where Bitcoin is right now. It's not looking great on the daily chart right now. It's not looking extremely bullish on the 1 hour chart either. RSI has been coming up here. I'm trying to find any little peaks here and see if there's any kind of, we do have a little bit of an increase in price from the previous peak here at 56. So, on the 1 hour chart, it's looking okay. We're not looking to go down. It's looking like it's possibly going to go up. So that's a good sign there. Okay, so that's Bitcoin. Ethereum is at 1,568 right now. It is kind of doing the same thing as Bitcoin. And right now on the peaks, if we're looking at it, we're back here. So we are a little bit higher in price on the peaks as well with the RSI, so that's good, at least on the 1 hour chart. On the daily chart, we're still looking the same as Bitcoin. It's trading sideways here in the past week. So yeah, we'll see how, obviously, tomorrow shapes up in the rest of the week, and depending on what the CPI data comes in on this week, we'll take a look to see what happens. But right now, we're trading sideways until something else happens. So that's it for Bitcoin. Let's take a look at some of the stories that we had this week, and then we'll get into the actual Bitcoin versus miners here, how they did for the week, and we'll call it a day. We do have 562 days left until the next halving, so we're going to keep an eye on that as well. And one of the stories that we had was Dmg Blockchain. They reported their Q3 2022 financial results. They weren't too bad, but they weren't that great either. Let's take a look at the numbers that we have here for DMG. So they did obviously have a little bit less revenue than the prior quarter. They came in at 8 million, and the prior quarter was 9 million. So that wasn't too bad. And if we look at their, really quick here, assets did, let me see here, total current assets did decrease to 13 million from 32 million, which wasn't good. And total assets also decreased to 81 from 95. But the big thing is debt to equity did come down, so that's good. And current ratio did come down, so that's not good. They still have enough cash to pay things 3 times over, so that's not a worrisome thing right now, but it is what it is. So that's DMG. It wasn't a bad report, but it wasn't a great report. Kind of following suit with everybody else that has reported for the most part. There were only a couple miners that did beat their revenues from the prior quarter, which was good, but DMG was not one of them. CleanSpark provided they increased their hash rate to over 3 exahash, which was great news. And they are basically doing everything right so far. They are still planning to get to 22.4 exahash by the end of sometime next year, or by the end of next year, which is going to be really tough for them. Obviously, they would have to install a lot of miners and basically build out infrastructure, data centers, things like that. That would also have to coincide with that growth rate. So that's going to be really challenging, I think, for them. Right now, I think it's a good time to buy the miners, the ASIC miners, that is. They are pretty well valued right now, pretty cheap. So it's a good time to be buying those things up as best they can. And they have been doing it. They bought out a facility just recently within the last month, and they bought out some other miners as well, ASIC miners. And they've been increasing their hash rate really well this time around. So that was obviously good to see. BitDigital also provided their second quarter fiscal results. We'll take a look at it here really quick. We went over this video, obviously, in a video this week. If you want to take a look at the full video, you can, but I'm just going to go into BitDigital's numbers here really quick as well, just to go over it. BitDigital. So let's take a look at the revenue. Revenue was 6.8 million compared to 8.5, so it wasn't too bad. Total current assets was 78.4, so a slight increase over the prior period, which is good. Total assets also increased a little bit to 27.9 million from 260 million, so that's good there. Their current ratio is 19, so they got plenty of cash to pay off their current debt, basically. And then debt to equity also went down to 0.0407, which is really good as well. So just in line with the expectations as the other miners. Unfortunately, they weren't able to grow the revenue more than the prior period, but obviously Bitcoin has been falling down, so it's kind of expected, and it's pretty hard for them, with being at almost, they're planning to, was it BitDigital that I did? Did I get this? Yeah, BitDigital, okay. I thought I had to pick the wrong one. BitDigital, so they still have a ways to go. They're at 1 exahash right now, trying to get to 2.7, so they really need to increase their numbers here. They did install, well, we don't have August numbers yet. We do have July's numbers. July numbers were pretty good along with June. They were up over 300 petahash each month. So if they can continue that on into August, I think it's going to be a good month for them, and then going into September as well, but we'll see. So that's just a quick recap on BitDigital. And then we got Iris Energy. They released their, well, they didn't release. They said they're going to release them on September 13th. After that happened, their stock went down. Let's take a look at their stock really quick here. So if we look at Iris Energy, and they reported that on, let's see here. They reported that it was on Wednesday. So in the morning, we can see here Wednesday we got a nice red candle going all the way down here when they did report that. So obviously investors weren't enthusiastic about that. Obviously some are thinking it might be a sign of trouble. But we'll have to see, obviously, when the numbers do actually come out, what's actually going on there. And they have obviously peaked here a little bit at $6.94, and their low, 52-week low, is at $2.89. They're still quite a ways away from that, but obviously the market didn't like the news that they were postponing the results. So that's Iris Energy there. Next on the block here is Argo Blockchain. So Argo Blockchain announced a September 2022 investor conference participation. So they're going to be at 3 conferences in September. The H.C. Wainwright Global Investment Conference on Monday the 12th. BTIG Second Annual Digital Assets Conference on Monday the 19th. And B. Riley Second Annual Crypto Conference on Thursday the 29th. So that's obviously good to get the word out as far as what they're doing, what their plans are, and to also talk to investors. So I think this is fine. This is just a little update here for them. And then Bitfarms provided August 2022 production and mining operations update. They had a nice record month as far as BTC production and had a slight increase in hash rate. So why don't we just take a quick look at that. So that was Bitfarms. We can see Bitfarms here increased BTC production to 534 in August from 500 in July, so that was a nice little increase there. Petahash growth was about 100 petahash, which wasn't too bad, but it wasn't as nice as the prior 2 months, where they increased by about 200 petahash each month at that time. The good thing is they did increase their BTC per petahash mining to 0.1368 from 0.1316, so that's a good sign. They're becoming more efficient, and that's obviously a good sign there. And that's it. I think they sold also a little bit less here. They sold only 427 BTC in the month of August compared to 1,600 in July. So that was a good sign there as well, that they're possibly limiting the amount that they're selling here going forward. But it was still pretty good. They got to 534 BTC, which is great. So that's Bitfarms. And then we got CleanSpark. CleanSpark also released their August 2022 Bitcoin mining updates. Bitfarms was the first one to do it. They did it on Thursday, I believe, and CleanSpark did it on Friday. We're still waiting on the other guys to do it as well. But CleanSpark had a really good month here. Their efficiency went down a little bit, but I'll explain why that happened. Take a look at CleanSpark here. So CleanSpark mined 395 BTC in the month of August. They also obviously bought a facility out, and I think that got the transaction for that happened towards the end of the month. So that's why the hash rate was a huge increase in hash rate of 506 petahash. But they weren't mining all of those machines for their own records until towards the end of the month. So they only had a couple of days of mining on that. I think that will obviously help them increase their BTC per petahash going into September as well. So they were at 1.1162 compared to 0.1327. I think that's going to obviously increase this coming month in September, as those machines are going to be running for a longer time. What else can we look at? Obviously, the petahash increase was great to see. 500 petahash, almost, well, it was basically half a exahash. That's a huge increase for them compared to the increase they had in July of only 93 petahash. And we'll have to see how it continues on. Based on this and where the Bitcoin price is, I think they're going to be doing okay. But they also said they're going to be installing like 400 more petahash this month, early this month. So that's going to be a huge increase for them as well. So I wouldn't be surprised if they possibly get to maybe 451 BTC in September, if they get the 400 petahash installed relatively quickly here this month. So that's it for CleanSpark. Just a quick update on them. And then finally, we got Untitled Blockchain. We talked about this in a video. Well, we talked about all this stuff in the video in more extended form. If you guys want to check those out, those will be in there. But Hive obviously is getting an ATM for 100 million. They're saying that they're going to use the proceeds of the ATM program primarily to support the growth and development of the company's existing mining operations, as well as the working capital and general corporate purposes. We do know that they have to get obviously the ASICs from Intel still made. Basically, I think they're still in production with somebody on those. Those are their custom miners for them. Those have to get made, installed, and it's going to take quite a bit of capital to do that. I did say that they still have, like, what was it? 63 million in, let me make sure I say this correctly, 61 million in BTC HODL value right now. They could be using portion of that as well to help that instead of doing the HODL. But, you know, especially if Bitcoin is flat for the next 6 to 12 months, it might not be a bad time to use it while the prices on the miners are down, infrastructure and things like that. You could possibly pick up a little bit cheaper. That might be a good time to possibly use that capital to fund growth, basically. But we'll have to see how they actually do it. But those are just kind of my thoughts on it. So it wasn't the greatest news, obviously, because it's going to be diluting shares, but it is going to obviously help them grow, especially with Ethereum possibly coming to an end for them. They do have a lot of revenue from their Ethereum mining. Almost, I believe it's like close to 30% or something like that. 20 to 30% of their revenue comes from Ethereum mining. So that's going to take a big hit, and we'll have to see what high computing does for them, mining possibly Ethereum Classic as well. And in general, how that compares to with just general mining Ethereum. So I think it's going to be a pretty big hit for them, but we'll see. So that's it for Hive. Otherwise, pretty good week for everybody. As far as news goes, we're still, like I said, we're waiting for the other miners to provide their August production updates, and then we'll take a look at all of them, comparing each one, how they did to each other in the coming video, probably in the next 2 weeks or so. Some of the miners are a little bit slow to getting the information out, so once we do have all that, we will talk about it. All right, let's take a look at the miners here really quick against Bitcoin, see how they did, and we'll call it a day. So other things that I added to this spreadsheet is I just put in a quick formula here to basically see how far the miners are away from their 52-week lows currently, and we'll look at that really quick as well. Bitcoin was obviously down a little bit this week. It was down 1.43%. It was down $290 from the prior week, but it's been down on the 1 week, 4 week, 8 week, and the 12 weeks. And then we're obviously seeing some miners are still up in the 8 and 12 weeks, while a lot of them are still down in all the weeks here that we cover for the most part. So let's just go through this really quick. So Hive is right now, let's see here. Hive is actually up this week, 10.62%. It's $1.97 off from its 52-week low, which is pretty good. Marathon was up 0.26% this week, and it's up $6.18 off its 52-week high, which is pretty good, which is really good. I think they're the ones that's the highest right now, and it is. That and Riot, obviously. So Bitcoin's down 1.43%, down $290. It's off $2,261 from its low. Riot is up $2.61 from its low, and it was actually down 2.36% on the week. Argo was down 2.44%. It is just 8 cents off its low, which doesn't bode well. It's if things continue on the way that they are, they might be breaking that 52-week low of 36 cents, but we'll have to see. BitDigital was down 3.42% this week, and it is 22 cents off of its 52-week low. Mawson was down 5.33%. It's 5% or 5 cents off of its 52-week low. So that might be getting tested here in the next week or so, depending on what happens with Bitcoin. CleanSpark was down 5.58%, surprisingly, even though they provided pretty good news here. And they are 31 cents off of their 52-week lows. Sphere 3D was down 7.15% this week and 8 cents, so they might be getting tested as well for their 52-week lows. Hut 8 was down 7.73%, and they're 64 cents off of their 52-week lows. Bitfarms was down 8.96% and 18 cents off of their 52-week lows. DMG was down 10.08% on the week and just 5 cents off of their 52-week lows, so they might be getting tested here this week as well. Core Scientific was down 10.55%. They are 72 cents off their 52-week lows, and Iris Energy was down 15.53%, and they're up $1.19 from their 52-week lows. Soluna was down 15.91%, and they're 13 cents off their 52-week lows, so they're getting pretty close, along with DigiHost, which is up only 6% off of their 52-week lows, so they might be getting tested. And DigiHost was down the most, 30.93% on the week. There are several miners, so DigiHost actually did reach a new 52-week low. I have it in my notes here, along with Luxfolio and Stronghold. So this week they basically set a new 52-week low on the charts. So that was DigiHost, Luxfolio, and Stronghold were the ones that actually hit new 52-week lows this week. So that's not good. So that's why I'm saying they might be coming back down a little bit more. All right, so we can see here that Hive and Marathon did better than Bitcoin. Everybody else here did far worse than Bitcoin. Looking at the 1 week, if we look at the 4-week chart really quick here as well. And let's do this. Where is it? There it is. We can see it here. Bitcoin is down 18.17% on the 4 weeks, and everybody's done far worse than them. Biggest loser obviously is 53% with DigiHost, followed by Soluna, Hut 8, Bitfarms, Marathon, Core Scientific, DMG, Hive, Riot, CleanSpark, Iris, Mawson, Argo, BitDigital, and Sphere 3D. So Sphere 3D has fared, looks like the better than the other miners, along with BitDigital and Argo. And the other ones have obviously went down pretty bad. Looking at the 8-week chart here, do that descending again. And look at it in here. We can see where's Bitcoin. Bitcoin is down 4.16%. So everybody above this line did better than Bitcoin. And that's DMG, Bitfarms, Argo, Riot, Hut 8, Iris, Hive, Core Scientific, and Marathon. Marathon's obviously up 41% from 8 weeks ago. Core is up 35%. Hive is up 35%. Iris is up 25%. And then these guys did worse. So CleanSpark did 4.69% down. Sphere was down 10.36%. BitDigital was down 12.96%. Mawson was down 29%. DigiHost was down 40%. And Soluna was down 41% from 8 weeks ago. And finally, taking a look at the 12 weeks here. Let's do this. So we're descending in 12 weeks. And we can see Marathon is up 72% from 12 weeks ago. So nice increase there, along with Hive. Hive is up nicely as well, followed by Riot. Then we got Hut 8, DMG, Argo, Iris, and Digital is down 0.7, and Bitcoin is down 2.45%. And then these guys have done worse. Sphere 3D, Bitfarms, Core Scientific, CleanSpark, DigiHost, Mawson, and Soluna. So obviously we're seeing a little bit of a pattern develop here, where we are seeing Marathon, Hive, Riot, Hut 8, DMG, Argo, and Iris do far better than Bitcoin has done in the last 12 weeks, with pretty good increases in price changes. It followed, and then everybody else here doing worse, unfortunately. And if we look at the chart here, we can see that we're seeing a lot more red here. We've been in red for the past 3 weeks now on Bitcoin and some of the miners as well. As prior, we saw pretty much across the board here 4 weeks ago where everybody was green. But we saw a lot more green 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 weeks, 7 weeks, and then 9 weeks ago. A lot more green than we saw red. So maybe we are just in a phase where it's just a little healthy pullback before we start the next leg up. I'm hoping that's the case. But that is it for this video. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, hit the like button, subscribe, helps me out tremendously. And that's all I ask of you guys. Hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. Like I said, we'll see what happens this week. It's going to be interesting. Obviously, the CPI data is going to be interesting to see this week if it gets published. I'm not sure. I'm not 100% sure, but I think that's happening this week. And then we'll see what the Fed does in 2 weeks, I believe, as far as the interest rates, if those are going up 50 basis points or 75 basis points. I'll take the 50 basis points any day. But we'll see. So that's it. Spreadsheets available to my Patreon members as always. Thank you to everyone there for their continued support. And thanks to everybody for commenting down below on the videos that I post. Always love hearing from you guys there. And I always try to respond at least within 24 hours, if not earlier. That's it. Have a wonderful Labor Day tomorrow. I'll see you guys possibly tomorrow if something happens. If not, maybe we'll do a video on Tuesday then. So that's it. See you guys in the next one.